Can Republicans remain splintered and still be successful this fall? Let's ask two experts and friends of our show, Fox News contributor, the handsome Hurt brother, Charlie Hurt, and Democrat strategist Kevin Wallen. Charlie, Trump says Haley should get out of the race and focus on beating Biden. Haley says, I beat Biden worse than you can. So how long does this GOP primary last?
Honestly, I think that it's going to last probably a few more weeks unless, Nikki Haley really does decide to go all the way to Super Tuesday. But I would imagine that what we're looking at right now is Nikki Haley. She's already put out an ad. She's kind of testing the waters. She's doing some events in South Carolina. And she's going to look at those internals to see whether or not, if she can sort of move the needle inside her own state. Then, she'll stick it out. But if she looks at that and the needle doesn't move in this Trump era, it's pretty rough. And as you noted at the beginning there, she will have be going on a loss in Iowa, a loss in New Hampshire, and a loss in Nevada. And so, the idea of riding into South Carolina and potentially losing your own state, by a wide margin, is one of those things. It's kind of a career ender, can be a career ender. It was for Al Gore, for example. And so I would think that cooler heads will prevail before then. But if she decides that she wants, she can close the gap and she thinks she can win, who knows? Maybe we'll see her through Super Tuesday.
Kevin, let me ask you about an issue that popped up in the exit polling in both Iowa and New Hampshire. The border and immigration. It seems like it's number one on the minds of some voters, even greater than the economy. I know it's just two states, but it's beginning to seem like something of a millstone around Biden's neck, and I don't think the Republicans are going to throw him a lifeline. So how does he get out of this?
Yeah, Trey, it's interesting, and actually you're seeing the issue of immigration and the border rise among Democrats as well, who participate in that New Hampshire primary in the write-in. Listen, I think the president is still hopeful that we'll get some kind of bipartisan deal out of the Senate. You saw some, Republican senators come out in the wake of Donald Trump weighing in this past week with issues about wanting to hold on to that issue for November, and I think that actually we could flip the script on Republicans if they torpedo that effort, come November. But, to your point, interestingly enough, with the conversation with Charlie, everything that fuels politics and campaigns is about money. And, you got Nikki Haley's super PAC, which outraised Donald Trump's super PAC in the last quarter. She got $24 million on the hard side in the last quarter. She's up with a $4 million ad campaign. So I think she's in it to win it as she kind of reintroduces herself to South Carolina voters in these next couple of weeks.
Charlie, let's listen to Nikki Haley together, and then I'm going to ask you a question on the other side.
You can't bully your way through this process. He has 32 electoral delegates. I have 17. You have to have 1,215. There's a long way to go in this race, and we're prepared to do that.
Let me ask you, I thought the former president was collegial after Iowa. New Hampshire was different. There was talk about stolen elections and a shot at Governor Sununu and a comment about Governor Haley's dress and implied threats for her supporters. So, I wonder, does the former president know he actually won? He actually won New Hampshire. Winners tell jokes. They don't make fun of people's dresses. So how does this help win in November to have this still going on between him and her?
Well, I think the thing that, Nikki Haley did sort of ramp up her attacks on Donald Trump that night, which I think is what kind of set him off. But she can call it bullying, but Donald Trump can call it winning. And, going back to Kevin's point, and talking about how money talks in politics, and certainly it does, and that's why she's still in the race. But of course, Nikki Haley has outspent everybody or all the top contenders in Iowa and New Hampshire, and Donald Trump still beat both of them in both places. So money does talk, but one of the appealing things I see about Donald Trump is that he has sort of reverse engineered the whole money in politics thing. He manages to beat people spending a lot less money and enduring a lot more attacks on him than any politician we've ever seen. And I think that that's a positive direction in our politics in this country.
All right, Kevin, I got to ask you this. Let's assume a hypothetical fact pattern. Former President Donald Trump calls you tonight and says, hey, Kevin, who should I pick for my vice president? What do you tell him?
Well, interestingly enough, I think, Nikki Haley, despite the vitriol that we're seeing on the campaign trail, might make a compelling choice for him because he has to lock up, kind of the more, Reagan-esque wing of that party, right? So in our own Fox News exit polling out of New Hampshire, 35% of Republicans that participated in that primary said that they would not support Donald Trump on the general election ballot. That's a huge issue for Donald Trump, in terms of uniting that party with that never Trump wing. So if he gives a nod potentially to, a Nikki Haley, to a Tim Scott, I think that would actually benefit him in the long run.
You may be right, but you got to quit calling people bird brain if they're going to be like your right or left-handed person. But what do I know about politics? Thank you guys for coming on. We'll see you next time. It's going to be a fascinating year. Thank you both. You too.
Thanks, Trey.